What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope you guys are all having a great wild card weekend, and we're going to be live streaming today, starting I think around 3:30, maybe 3:45, and we're going to do it as a Zoom call, so that way those of you who are channel members can call in and be part of the conversation. I hope everybody is ready for the playoffs here, and I'm in here in the workshop doing some work here before the game, because I've got a bunch of stuff that needs to get out of here. Chris Hutchins has 5 prints of some family members. There's James Nooks that has a picture of a dog. There's another gentleman that's got 2 prints, a print of him and his wife, and a print of his family at Universal Studios and things. I've got one for my buddy of Dak Prescott, for Master Sergeant. I've got one for Clarence that's in here. I've got a makeup rack for a Jets fan. Yeah, we get Jet fans too. It's kind of crazy. I got a butcher block for another person, and I love doing this stuff. I love doing this stuff to go ahead and be able to say, I built this with my own 2 hands, and somebody will value what I actually am doing. And I feel blessed to be able to do something that I truly love. In many ways, I'll probably never be a rich man doing what I'm doing, but I will say that when I leave away from here, I'll feel like my life was worthwhile, that I did things that others appreciated, and that will be my legacy. I think that this piece of birch, as heavy as it is, will live longer than I will. And I'm okay with that. I love that. So, as we enter the playoffs this weekend, see, I remember these guys right here. This was the Doomsday Defense. Ed Too Tall Jones, let's see. Ed Too Tall Jones, the Manster, Randy White, Harvey Martin. I remember that game so vividly because I remember John Denver, okay? You know, take me home, country road, to the place I belong, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, take me home, country road. That John Denver, okay? I know I can't sing, can't carry a tune in a bucket, but it's okay. I'm a legend in my own mind, and I ain't mad about it. John Denver, of course. I remember when they interviewed him and said, "Who you going for, John Denver?" And he's like, "Of course, I'm going for the Denver Broncos." The Denver Broncos, they were known as the Orange Crush, like the soda. That's when it came out, going against the Cowboys. And see, the quarterback, because here's where things come full circle, okay? Because see, people have a tendency to say, you know, you're not a real Cowboys fan. You're not a real Cowboys fan and all that. You're one of those bandwagon fans. See, I physically remember all these things because, see, the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, the Orange Crush, was Craig Morton. See, the Cowboys were at a crossroads. They had Craig Morton, who was their starting quarterback, against the Colts. Typical drop-back quarterback, you know, in the pocket quarterback. Tom Landry was very regimented, being that he was actually in the military. He liked everything planned out and, you know, boom, lined up just right. He had a quarterback in Roger Staubach who was untraditional, who could run. In the same way he ended up having a running back in Tony Dorsett. Because, see, there was a time when Tony Dorsett got yelled at by Tom Landry. Tom Landry was pissed off because, here it is, Tony Dorsett runs this big run. And Tom Landry goes over to him and says, Tony, that's not the place you were supposed to run. He said, but coach, the place you wanted me to run, there was nothing there. I ran to daylight. That's not the way it's designed. And it forced Tom Landry to change and realize, guys, on the offensive line, hold your blocks. Tony's going to find the hole and go. And in the same way with Craig Morton, who was that pocket quarterback versus Roger Staubach, they tried literally changing plays by series in a game. Craig Morton, Roger Staubach, Craig Morton, Roger, and it was a failure. Complete failure. It didn't work. What ended up happening was Roger Staubach became the starting quarterback, and they won their first Super Bowl. Craig Morton went on to Denver. Craig Morton was the quarterback for the Denver Broncos going against the Dallas Cowboys. And I remember the Cowboys crushing the Orange Crush. And see, that's the thing in life. You have to understand that there's ways people have done things forever. But you've got to find the next thing. And it doesn't matter if it's football, if it's YouTube, if it's real estate. Don't just go by what everybody else says this is the way to go. You have to go ahead and find a different way, a different niche, a different way of going about things. And that's what happens with people that are really successful. And that's what happens with teams that become successful. Understand that so many times you see teams that come out of nowhere. I remember the San Francisco 49ers. And when they ended up coming up, they were called the Cinderella story. That's what they kept pounding in our head, that the Cinderella story, that the San Francisco 49ers came out of nowhere to win that Super Bowl. But it was something different. See, you had Tom Landry, who was using the innovator with the computer and doing everything the way that he did it. That he was the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator. And here was San Francisco, who came out with the West Coast offense, an offense that was predicated on short passes, of giving the ball to guys where they could make moves. It was different. It was an innovation. And across the continent was Joe Gibbs, who came from Air Coryell, who realized that he didn't have the wide receivers to be Air Coryell. And he decided to come up with the one-back offense and rode this big, bruising, old-ass back in John Riggins to 3 Super Bowls. Innovation, thinking differently about what you do. And we've seen, the Wildcat, for example, when it came out, boom, it hit and was doing all kinds of things. Great things for Miami the first year. Then everybody followed, and then it became kind of, the pistol offense with RG3. Innovation is the key. You have to find another wrinkle. Be it back in the day when teams decided, let's go to the small schools. Let's start going to the black schools to find players. Getting that valve of players coming into your system that nobody else was tapping into. Be it the computer, like Tom Landry, who was crunching numbers on prospects to find those guys to draft in the draft. This is what the Cowboys have been missing. And unfortunately with Kellen Moore needs to understand that. And as Mike Evans said about the Cowboys, that the Cowboys are simplistic. They basically line up and try to just beat you one-on-one. That's great when you have superior talent. But in today's NFL, where everything's kind of watered down, there's 32 teams and you all basically know the same stuff, you have to have an advantage of being where they're not expecting you to be. That, my friends, is innovation. And that's what the Cowboys are going to need if we're going to make some noise in this playoffs and this going to the Super Bowl. We can't be predictable. Against the Jaguars, it's about every first down, we ran the ball up the middle. Innovation. That's what I need to see from Kellen Moore. Mike McCarthy said something that I am probably going to take to my grave. Hopefully, I'll have it as the changing speech or the changing moment for the Dallas Cowboys. And that was when he showed pictures to the current players, the ones that were alive the last time that the Dallas Cowboys won a road playoff game. And he told them, so you guys weren't alive when that happened. You're not responsible for what happened before you. And I take that as this is your opportunity to become legends like these guys. And it's time. It's time for those guys to put it together. Yeah. I'm Mark Holmes, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys living my life with me, because that's what you really do. There's no makeup or scripts. What you see here is me, Mark Holmes. And that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Just me every day. And I appreciate y'all.